This isn't a tip, it's a quiet detonation. What you're about to learn doesn't just sharpen recall, it rewires the way reality lives in your head. You'll start replaying moments with frightening clarity. The pattern of someone's breath, the flicker of a neon sign, the exact words they whispered before the door closed. The soft scrape of a shoe across concrete will become as distinct as a gunshot in your memory. Picture this. You walk into a room and, weeks later, you can still taste the dust in the air. You remember the exact weight of the silence before someone spoke. You recall the angle of a shadow sliding across the wall at 7:13 p.m., as if the moment is unfolding again inside your skull. Not a photograph, not a guess, a living replay. That's what happens when you stop letting memory drift like smoke and start threading it into steel. Once you open this door, there's no gentle way to close it. Every sound, every smell, every flicker of light might cling to you like static, ready to spark months later. You will remember things you wish you could forget. That's the price. Most people treat memory like a messy filing cabinet. They cram facts into mental folders and hope brute force repetition keeps the drawer from sticking. But the human brain is not a cabinet. It's a living network, electrical, fluid, always rearranging itself even while you sleep. Every experience sets off a storm of neurons, tiny lightning arcs that weave together smell, sound, texture, and emotion into a single event. Most never notice the wiring. They let it knot itself and fade, but you're about to do something different. You're going to stitch the wiring on purpose. I call this hidden weapon memory threading. Think of a single filament stretched through time, invisible but unbreakable. Instead of dumping data into a mental box, you sew it to a sensory fragment. A distant hum of a vending machine, the smell of warm asphalt after rain, the rough drag of wool against your wrist, the specific slant of a neon sign across wet pavement. Here's the science in plain language. Your hippocampus, the brain's archivist, loves context. When you experience something vivid, it binds the fact to the environment in a process called associative encoding. That's why the scent of wood smoke can yank you back to a childhood fire or a lost winter. Memory threading hijacks that same mechanism, but you choose the trigger. You weld the new information to a deliberate cue, forging a backdoor that no one else can see. Later, you don't think of the fact. You summon the cue, and the memory doesn't wander in, it erupts, whole and unblurred. The person across from you is still speaking while you replay an entire conversation from last month, every word sharp enough to cut. This is more than recall. It's control over the very circuitry that decides what survives in your mind. And once you feel how fast and clean it works, you'll never look at forgetting the same way again. To wield memory threading, and to defend against anyone who might try it on you, you train like this. Anchor scan. Freeze the moment. When something matters, don't rush. Stop talking. Slow your breathing until you can feel the air drag against your throat. Now, let the background noise rise and separate. Notice the hum of a vending machine, the hiss of a radiator, the tiny scrape of your sleeve against the chair. Pick one of these details, the one no one else is noticing. That's your anchor. The trick is to choose something neutral but repeatable. A distant fan, the faint metallic taste of your own saliva, the low buzz of a fluorescent tube. Lock onto it until the rest of the world fades. You're not memorizing the fact yet, you're choosing the hook. Cross-link. With the anchor sharpen your senses. Pull the information in. Speak it under your breath. Write it silently across your mind's eye. If it's a face, see the eyes. If it's a code, picture each digit as a shape and a sound. Now, imagine the anchor and the fact melting into one signal. The number becomes the pulse of the radiator. The face becomes the rhythm of the fan. The password rides on the metallic taste you can summon at will. You're not just remembering your welding. Neurologically, you're forcing your hippocampus to bind the sensory cortex with the memory trace, the same way a sudden smell can drag you back to childhood. Do it right, and the two can't separate. Recall snap. Later hours, days, even months, summon the anchor first. Don't reach for the memory, reach for the detail. Recreate the hiss of the radiator in your head. Taste the metal. Hear the buzz. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real cue and a vividly imagined one. The hippocampus lights up, the link fires, and the memory detonates whole. Names, numbers, entire conversations unspooling in perfect order. If it feels like a sudden drop on a fast elevator, you've done it right. Layered training. Start with trivial data. License plates, a stranger's shoes in the subway, the pattern of a cafe floor tile. Run the cycle until you can retrieve these details without strain. Then escalate. Complex instructions, entire speeches, live conversations. Practice until you can thread multiple memories to the same cue without tangling them. Each one waiting, sharp and silent, behind that single hum or scent. Here's where it twists. Threading doesn't care about morality. The same mechanism that gives you perfect recall can be turned outward as a weapon. A manipulator can plant cues in you without a trace. They leave a song playing when they deliver a threat. They wear a specific cologne while feeding you a lie. They tap a glass just before revealing a secret. Weeks later, a single note, a whiff of that scent, or the faint clink of crystal can drag the emotion back, shaping your decisions without a word. Advertisers already exploit this. They lace a jingle with dopamine hits. Interrogators seed fear with subtle environmental cues. Even lovers, whether they admit it or not, will scent mark a memory to keep you orbiting them long after the relationship burns out. And once you begin to notice how easy it is to set those hooks yourself, temptation follows. You start testing it. A carefully chosen word repeated at the right moment. A unique fragrance you wear only when negotiating. Later, you deploy the same trigger and watch someone's posture shift, their pulse betray them before they know why. Control disguised as coincidence. The danger isn't that you'll forget, it's that you'll remember too much and start seeing people as collections of switches to be flipped. Memory threading is a weapon. In the right hands, it makes you impossible to deceive and nearly impossible to forget. In the wrong hands, it turns you into a puppet of your own senses, a creature moved by cues you can't even name. So, ask yourself before you start, are you ready to carry every sound, every scent, every whispered word forever? Because once you weave the thread, there is no unspooling it.